In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a show which is a perfect mix of the songs that you've put into a playlist. First, log into Mood Mixes and go to the Music tab. That's where we are now. In order to save some time on this tutorial, we're going to take an existing playlist and copy it rather than creating a playlist from scratch. Go to Our Playlists and then Classy Classical and scroll to the bottom. Double-click on Copy This Playlist. We're going to call this My Favorite Classical. We're going to somewhat arbitrarily delete some songs that we don't like by just going through here and hitting delete. Now, in reality, you'd probably want to listen to some of these songs and decide what you do and don't want. Let's also say that there's an artist here that has albums that we like, but are not currently on the Classy Classical or our favorite classical. So we're going to go to this person's albums, see if the Grieg album by Daniel Estrom is there. It already is, so for example, we could minus it, which removes all the songs, and then we could add just a few songs that we do like by hitting plus next to them. So what we've just done is remove the whole album from the playlist and then add just these 5 songs back. You could do that with any album here, anything that you like that isn't on the playlist. Click on it and see. For example, this harpsichord album is not on the playlist currently, so I'm going to go and click plus and have all of it added. If I now go to Your Playlists, My Favorite Classical, you'll see that a lot of things are here, and added to the bottom is the Colin Booth that I just added, as well as the Edvard Grieg. Now to create a show, go to Your Shows, click on Make a New Show. Pick the playlist you want to use, how long you want it to last, how often it should make a new episode, how many old shows you'd like Mood Mixes to keep, and what audio quality you'd like it to be. In this case, we're going to make it audio file WAV files, which means that we'll have CD quality audio as well as the lower quality MP3 files. We're going to call it My Favorite Classical 1-hour Show. You can see it automatically starts building the show, like so. We're going to come back in about 15 minutes when the show is finished building and show you how to add this show to iTunes so that it automatically syncs into iTunes and then your iPod. Okay, we're back, and our 1-hour episode has now been built. Just for fun, you can look at it and look at the songs in it, and indeed, songs that we chose, such as this Colin Booth, and we also notice that Daniel Estrom are indeed in the show. This is a 1-hour perfect mix show. I'm going to hide the songs, because the next step I want to do is subscribe to this and put it in iTunes. Click the download button and then hit subscribe to this show. Copy this URL right below where it says copy this podcast URL. Go to iTunes, choose Advanced, Subscribe to Podcast, and paste in the URL. iTunes will automatically start downloading episode 1, which we just made, which has these songs in it. Now, if you didn't want to use this podcast feature, you could also download this show directly. And the way to do that is simply to right-click from the download section on MP3, MP3 Hi-Fi, or WAV. I'm going to download the MP3 file. So I right-click on it, choose Save Link As, and then save it to my desktop. In this case, I'm going to rename it to Fave Classical, like so. and it'll download fairly quickly to my desktop. The show that we made is now downloaded on the desktop. To add it to iTunes, I minimize Firefox, minimize iTunes. On the desktop is that MP3. I drag it and drop it on iTunes. Now I can open iTunes up, go to Music, and there's my favorite classical 1 hour show. It gives me the date that it was on, and you can see that it's a 1 hour perfect show. If I hit sync music on my iPod, then this show as an MP3 file will automatically go in here. Alternatively, if I have sync podcast going, then my favorite classical show is also downloading this way as a podcast. I probably don't want each show to be there twice, both as an MP3 file and as a podcast. It's more convenient actually to do it as a podcast because every day a new show will get built and I don't have to do anything. It automatically downloads. So I'm going back to music here, and I'm going to hit the delete key. Remove it. And that way, this file that's downloading here, which is the podcast, will automatically load in. In this tutorial, I showed you how to make a playlist, how to make a show from that playlist, and how to download the show into iTunes and have it automatically sync into your iPod.